We play and call it work.
Hey folks, Janene from MiniWarGaming here with another how-to video for you. In this video, I thought I'd switch over to painting some Tau. Now the scheme I want to play with is a slate blue with some interesting glowing oranges and blues. As always, if you have suggestions for what you'd like to see in future how-to videos, please leave them down below in the comments. So I've prepped this drone by spraying him with a black primer and then airbrushing him with a matte flat black paint. And our first step with this drone is going to be to create that slate black look. The first paint I want to use is Incubi Darkness. Now I want to apply this with an airbrush. However, since Incubi Darkness doesn't happen to be an airbrush paint, I'm going to go ahead and mix it myself. And I'm just going to put a little bit of paint in a clean pot and mix it with my favorite medium. In this case, I'm using water. However, I suggest you use whatever medium for airbrushing you happen to be comfortable with. I usually mix my airbrush paints at about 60% paint, 40% water. Right now, it's actually a little bit too thin, so I'm going to go ahead and put some more paint in my mixture just to make sure that I've got a nice ratio. I once heard someone describe it as a milky consistency, and I guess that kind of makes sense. For me, I really just, as I'm mixing the paint, I want to get to the consistency where I can move the paint around and it all sticks together without seeming like it's trying to separate in any way. Once I have my paint mixed, I'm going to go ahead and spray it onto the Mini. I'm spraying this out of an Iwata HPCS Eclipse. It's got a 0.3 needle, and I'm using a Badger air compressor set to about 25 psi. As I spray this, I really want to spray it from the front of the drone to the back. That way the color is more concentrated in the very front, and the black is going to be heavier in the very back. I'm going to have to apply several different layers until I build up a level of this Incubi Darkness color that I like. One thing about mixing your own airbrush paints is that you can control the consistency. This happens to be very thin, so it's going to take me several layers to get a nice coat. Versus if you were to just use the Citadel airbrush paints, it would go on a little bit thicker. However, doing those layers lets me build up a really smooth blend between the black that I want in the back of the drone and this Incubi Darkness that I want at the front. Alright, now that I have the drone painted with the Incubi Darkness, I'm going to add some Thunderhawk blue to it as well. This is also going to be an airbrush layer, and I'm going to be mixing my paint in the exact same way I did with my first color. Now I'm going to apply this highlight just to about the front half of the drone. And then after it dries, I'm going to add another layer to about the front third. Again, just so that I can build the highlight more centered in the very front of the Mini. Here's the drone after that Thunderhawk blue has been applied. You can see I've got a very nice transition all the way from the dark of the back to the bright Thunderhawk in the front. The next color I'm going to use is going to be Rust Gray. And I'm going to be mixing that with a little bit of Lamian Medium. And I'm going to be using my fine detail brush. And I'm just going to slowly trace this beveled ring that's on the outside of the drone. I also want to use this Rust Gray to paint this vented engine panel in the back of the drone. I also want to paint these inner rods of the gun, just to help break up the color more. After that, I'm going to go ahead and use this Rust Gray to do an edge highlight on just about all of the edges of the drone. Once I've edged everything, I'm going to add another highlight with Ulthuan Gray. Again, this is mixed with a little bit of Lamian Medium. Now, I'm not going to be applying this Ulthuan Gray to the entire outer edge. I just want to pick one or two of these corners to add a little bit of a highlight to. Just by brightening up a few sections, it's going to seem like it's a little bit shinier. I also want to use this Ulthuan Gray to highlight the top edge of this antenna. And it's also going to be a highlight for the spec vent and the rods on the gun as well. Alright, here's the slate black entirely done on the drone. It's nice and basic, but it's going to give me a really good starting point for some of the other elements I want to add to the drone later. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, I have another one where I'm going to go through adding some orange glowing elements to this drone in the MiniWarGaming Vault in the link down below in the description. If you don't have a Vault membership, go ahead and click the link. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial and get access to my video as well as hundreds of other videos in the MiniWarGaming Vault. So go ahead, click the link, start your free trial, and happy wargaming!